Hi, everyone. We're here on another Wednesday. And this Wednesday, we're talking about seasonal affective disorder. Of course, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, psychiatrist. Um, but we're just going to see what we pick up from a quiz that we're about to take and also from reading a book from archive.org. And we'll put together an itinerary. I'm looking forward to the itinerary today because the cover of the book is really interesting, even though the book is still research based. A lot of times you don't get covers of books that are, I don't know, as pictorial, I guess. So, the interesting picture is a guy on a ladder trying to get to the top of a light. So, it's cool. And you go through and you'll notice that the book is also very well organized. The cover of the book looks a lot more like a fiction book, but it's nonfiction. It's kind of funny. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. We'll take a quiz. I already found the quiz for today, and I'm going to try my best to read this with. All right, the quiz today is from take.com. It's from Quizmaker. All right. So I need my. This seasonal depression quiz helps you spot common signs of seasonal affective disorder and pick up simple coping ideas. Answer quick questions, get instant feedback, and use what you learn to support your well being through the darker months. Afterward, you can try our mood disorder quiz or the bipolar depression test to understand related patterns and resources. What does SAD or SAD stand for in the context of seasonal depression? Seasonal affective disorder. Which season is most commonly associated with the onset of seasonal affective disorder? I think it's winter. Which of the following is a hallmark symptom of SAD? Excessive energy and hype, persistent low mood, increased risk taking behavior, or heightened sociability? I'll say persistent low mood. What common treatment involves exposure to bright artificial light to reduce SAD symptoms? Aromatherapy, psychodynamic therapy, light therapy, or electroconvulsive therapy? Artificial light to reduce. I guess it's just going to be light therapy. Deficiency of which vitamin is often linked to the development of SAD? Deficiency of which vitamin is often linked to the development of SAD? Vitamin C, vitamin B12, vitamin A, vitamin D. I think it's vitamin D. Which demographic group is at higher risk for developing SAD? Adults over 65, men, women, or children under 10? I actually think it's men. Or it's adults over 65. I'm going to go for adults over 65. Women. Interesting. Okay. What term describes the milder subclinical form of seasonal mood changes often seen in winter? Winter blues, seasonal dysphoria, circadian misalignment, or seasonal mood mania? Often seen in winter. I'm going to guess winter blues or seasonal dysphoria. I think it's winter blues. Yeah. In winter, S.A.D, overproduction of which hormone can contribute to increased sleepiness? Cortisol, adrenaline, dopamine, or melatonin? Overproduction of melatonin. Which neurotransmitter is most implicated in mood regulation in S.A.D? GABA, GABA, dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine. Which neurotransmitter? Um, Acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter. I don't think dopamine and serotonin are neurotransmitters. I think it's acetylcholine. It's serotonin. They're transmitters. Okay. Disruption of which internal process contributes to the development of S.A.D? Disruption of which internal process contributes to development? Immune response, metabolic rate, circadian rhythms, pain threshold. Okay, hold on. I'm going to change my seating position a little bit. Hold on. So, all right. So, disruption of which internal process contributes to the development of S.A.D? I think it's circadian rhythms. Cool. What is the optimal time of day to administer light therapy for S.A.D? Night, evening, morning, noon. I don't know. I think morning. Which type of psychotherapy has been shown effective in treating S.A.D? Um, I think it's just cognitive behavioral therapy. Which class of medication is most commonly prescribed for seasonal affective disorder? Which medication is most commonly prescribed? Beta blockers? I don't think so. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors? Benzodiazepines? Diazepines, MAO inhibitors. I'm guessing it's going to be something serotonin. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. I think it's, don't we want more serotonin if we're dealing with this? I don't know. I'm still going to guess this one. Yeah. Regular engagement in which activity can help alleviate S.A.D symptoms? Meditation only, physical exercise, sleep restriction, dieting only. Regular engagement in which activity can help alleviate S.A.D symptoms? I think it's just physical exercise. What intensity of light in lux is recommended for effective light therapy in S.A.D? Yeah, I have no idea. But I'm just going to guess somewhere in the middle, 10,000. Light therapy primarily targets which retinal cells to influence circadian rhythms? Horizontal, rods, cones, intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. I'm going to guess it's horizontal cells that go back towards the brain. Intrinsically photosensitive. Oh, that makes sense for light therapy. What device is used to mimic a natural sunrise by gradually increasing light intensity? Bright room lamp, dawn simulator, S.A.D blanket, phototherapy visor. I guess it's a dawn simulator. According to the phase shift hypothesis, S.A.D patients typically show what circadian alteration? According to the phase shift hypothesis, S.A.D patients typically show what circadian alteration? Speaking of shift, hold on. All right. So SAD patients typically show what circadian alteration? A phase delay, a random shift, no shift, or phase advance. I'm going to say random shift. Ooh, phase delay. Which neurotrophic factor has been implicated in the pathophysiology of SAD? Brain derived neurotrophic factor. Which medication is FDA approved for the prevention of seasonal affective disorder? Sertraline, mirtazapine, fluoxetine, bupropion XL. I gotta guess it's sertraline. Nope. Bupropion XL. What proportion of SAD patients typically respond positively to light therapy? Typically respond positively. I'd hope it's a high number. I'm going to say 90 to 100, 60 to 80. Which type of light spectrum has been shown to be most effective in treating SAD? Blue enriched white light, red enriched light, green light, UV light. I don't know. Is it red enriched? I think it's blue enriched. Ooh, I don't know. I don't think it's UV. I don't think it's green. I think it's blue enriched. Combining cognitive behavioral therapy with light therapy yields better outcomes than light therapy alone. Oh, yeah. Which genetic polymorphism has been associated with increased risk of SAD? Which genetic polymorphism has been associated with increased risk of SAD? Short allele? Long. No idea. So there was an XL medication. I'm going to go long L. Was I right? Was that one correct? No. Score. Okay, not bad. Cool. So let's go over to the book. And here we have seasonal affective disorder, practice and research. And I'll just look at the table of contents. Man has been fascinated by the sun and the invariably changing seasons since the beginning of time. Ancient medical scripts include considerations on the variation of diseases through the seasons. Certain Greek and Roman physicians wrote on the effect of seasons and light on mental disorders such as mania and depression. Words and concepts for winter blues and depressions have also long existed in the languages spoken in the Nordic countries. However, systematic scientific inquiries into the season-bound changes in mood and behavior are relatively recent. A report from Dr. N.E. Rosenthal and his co authors, published in the Archives of General Psychiatry in 1984, is considered to be the first systematic description of the syndrome called seasonal affective disorder and its treatment with light therapy. Since this milestone, the field has been expanding rapidly. A recent literature search in 8 major databases, including the Medellin Cyclet and Excerpta Medica, identified over 1,300 publications on S.A.D. from 1988 to 2000. We would like to emphasize here that in this book, the concept of S.A.D. refers uniformly to the winter subtype of S.A.D., unless otherwise stated. It is becoming increasingly difficult to be aware of everything that is happening in the field of winter S.A.D. and to retain an overview of all the studies that range from epidemiology to molecular biology. This was one reason for us to embark on this project. The objective of this book is to summarize the knowledge that has been collected on winter S.A.D. We hope that the book will give the readers a clear overview of both research and practice, and awareness of the many fascinating and relevant points of view linked to winter S.A.D. To aid our readers in this book, the book is divided into 2 sections. The first part is more clinically orientated and provides information for those involved in the care of patients. There are 11 chapters on the clinical picture, epidemiology, and treatment of winter S.A.D. 3 key notes elucidate in detail prevalence estimates from community-based studies, evidence-based data on treatment efficacy, and assessment instruments useful in everyday practice. This part of the book is aimed at a wide audience: psychiatrists, psychologists, primary care professionals, and others who work in healthcare settings. It may even be of value for patients who are willing to learn more about their condition, especially if they are familiar with reading scientific literature. The second part is primarily targeted at academics and researchers in this particular field of science. And 11 chapters on the pathogenesis of winter S.A.D., the authors discuss the hypotheses that have been put forward to explain the origin of the disorder and provide reviews on the experimental data, both in favor of and against each theory. There are also 3 perspective notes giving information about the key concept and methods used in basic research in circadian clocks. Circadian clocks that are delayed. So let's consider that and go ahead and do an itinerary. Light therapy. Clearly, we're talking about light therapy here. So let's see if there's a really good drop in light therapy session situation. Drop in light therapy session for tourists. Tourists visiting the Chesterfield, Virginia area can find drop-in light therapy sessions at local wellness centers without membership requirement. A single session typically costs between $30 and $50. Ooh, Heaven Room Spa and Wellness, located in Midlothian. The spa offers single full-body red light therapy sessions. Should I look for a blue light? Hmm. So this isn't the best type of light therapy according to the quiz or the book. This is more for whole body physical repair, it sounds like. But it fits really well for the themes of the week, I think. All right. Great. So the title of this book is Seasonal Affective Disorder, Practice and Research. So red light therapy, it's kind of a really unfortunate name, no? Red light therapy, Richmond, Virginia, USA. Is it Richmond or more Midlothian? Midlothian. Haven Room. Let's see if there are chapters dedicated to light therapy. Epidemiology, such a good word. Is bright light therapy a placebo? Light therapy. Let's go to page 65. Pages 65 to 85. Read pages 65 to 85. Or 65 to 84. It's okay. Shine light on S.A.D. therapy. To create havens for yourself and others. here. All right, so that's the end of it for today. We have a little bit of time, so I'm just going to go ahead and find a image of the cover of the book. I could say pages 65 to 85, or say read chapters 7 and 8. Chapters 7 and 8. Read chapters 7 and 8. All right, so let's see if I can find. I've used split view before. I'm aware of that. Sometimes it works better, sometimes it doesn't. And I think the way that we had things today worked perfectly fine. All right. Just this one. Great. So that's it for our itinerary this week. Next week is holiday season. And so this means this is pretty much the end of our 2025 schedule. I don't have the schedule completed. We started it a couple weeks ago, maybe even a few weeks ago by this point. But the schedule should be ready and shared for the holiday season. So hopefully during those lives, I can talk a little bit about the holidays and also share a little bit about what the themes and what the schedule will look like for 2026. So until next reach out, keep it loud.